Hey everyone, Steven here with a Yesshift at night after-show review of Yes and El Cajon. I'm here with a couple of people. Here's my friend Chris. Chris, you've seen Yes with me before, right?
Yes. About 3 years ago?
It was 6 years ago.
Okay,
and we saw John Anderson 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're also with Chris's friend JP.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, you saw. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
Just say yes.
Yeah, you saw Yes in the 70s at the Balboa Stadium,
Yes.
was it? Okay. Right, so we just saw Close to the Edge 50th anniversary show at the Magnolia in El Cajon. So overall, what were your guys' impressions of the show? I don't know who wants to go first.
Well, I've got to say, I saw them a long time ago, and I knew that they were great musicians, and Close to the Edge has always been really close to my heart, for years. Every time I play it, I'll play the whole thing all the way through. And when I saw them, it was like a dream come true. They were so spot on. Even all the members that were involved that aren't original members, it didn't matter. They were just, it's almost hard to explain how fantastic the concert was. I don't know about music myself, technical parts of it. I just know that I just loved the hell out of it.
Right, yeah. Like, I don't play any instruments, but I love what I love when it comes to music,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it was like an out-of-body experience for me. I was like, I didn't really care who was around me,
Right, yeah.
No offense, Christian.
Yeah, so Chris, what was your overall impression of the show?
I just thought the musicianship overall was just superb. I mean, I was just in awe of, all of them, really. Jeff Downs was really getting into, they were all really getting into it in their own way. Steve Howe was throwing in a lot. I mean, he's just always been an accomplished guitar player. What I was noticing was that his influences seem like it's classical mixed with jazz. There's some rock in there, and there's some folk in there, especially when he played his acoustic solo bits. It was really nice to see Jeff play a lot of the keyboard and synthesizer sounds, but it was also really nice to hear him play piano. I thought that was really nice gentle touch to it. Let's see.
His piano sounds.
Yeah, the piano sounds were really pretty. John Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he nailed it. I mean, that was, they got someone really good, and it seemed like he was really passionate. I could see.
Yeah, he's been with the band for 10 years now.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
It's amazing. For him, seeing it through his eyes is probably like a dream come true.
Yeah, for sure.
And what else? It was just, and Billy Sherwood was just great. A lot of the bass lines were very intricate, and it's just amazing to see how he was able to pull off a lot of the bass lines and sing at the same time. Another thing that I really liked was the harmonies. What was the song that they sang where the three of them were harmonizing there was that moment where it was
And You and I?
I think it had to have been that one where the harmonies were just so strong. The instruments were there in the background, but they were just so strong. And there was also a moment where Steve Howe was playing guitar. He was playing his, I don't remember which song it was, but he was playing solo, and there was a subtle background. Jeff's keyboards in the background, very subtle. But they complemented well. They didn't overpower anything. His guitar skills, again, were just over the top, in a good way. I don't mean to be, but again, there's jazz and folk and just kinds of all kinds of mixtures of guitars and folk in there. So
yeah, and hopefully the sound is good. We tested this before, and I think it's workable. But if anything is not loud enough, I might re-edit and repost it. But thinking back to the set list, well, there's also some other stuff before the show, but I guess I'll work backwards. But going by memory, the set list began with Firebird Suite, and then they started with, the Alan White tribute with the turn of the century.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, as we were coming in here, there were some, I guess there were maybe some casual fans who were not as well versed in the history, and a couple of them are kind of surprised. So, like, I guess they were expecting Alan to be there, and I think part of that might be that some websites or people get the tickets, like maybe they use like the image of the lineup before, like they changed before, like, you know, Alan passed. So, yeah, I'm sure like it was a surprise to some people, but that tribute video was really nice. I'd seen it before, but people were like really into it, and they start with the edited version of on the Silent Wings of Freedom. But like, so that opening song, did it feel like stripped down to either of you, or did it just like, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but
I mean, it seemed like it was, they were kind of like warming up with it, but warming up for them is like over the top, you know,
right,
professional stuff. But once they got it, there was a little bit of feedback, I thought, in the bass. I was going, is this going to be going on? And all of a sudden they just corrected it right away, and it turned that on. They have a good rapport with the sound technicians, obviously, because
yeah, they're like helping them a bit during the last song in Starship Trooper. Yeah.
Props to those guys. Those guys were really fast and professional, especially Steve Howe's guitar tech. He was like on it. So props to those guys. The crew was very professional.
Right.
I was thrilled to see with that lap steel guitar.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I mean, I know that part backwards and forwards. I had no idea that's what it was played on. You know, it was just like thrilling to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So after Silent Wings, they did Yours Is No Disgrace, and the part where Steve does his solo, there might have been like a bit of improv in that. It seemed like he was having a fun time. And then they go into No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Needed. A little bit slower than what I'm typically used to for the song, but I was still hyped with it. And then I think after that is when Steve did his acoustic solo. It was a song called In the Course of a Day. So it's from one of his solo albums. It's not one I'm super familiar with, but well, yeah, what'd you guys think of his acoustic solo?
It was, technically, it was fantastic. It was just, and he's so natural with everything he does, you know, you don't really realize how complex what he's doing is, you know, just like flowing out of it. I mean, he's just looked like he's just, you know, like a lot of guitarists, you see, they try to go over the top, you know, like they're wrenching the music out of him, and he was just like flowing. It's just like flowing out of him. All of his instruments that he was playing was amazing. Like I said, we were talking about Gentle Giant before, where every single member of the group plays a different instrument, 4 different instruments. That he's like, it must have been at least like kind of 5. He was playing 5 different string instruments. It was at least back and forth.
Yeah.
So I just thought when he was playing that, it was just more, it was a storytelling. It was like he was telling a story with his guitar, you know? That's the way I perceive it, and a lot of the plucking that he does, he plucks with the bass and everything else, and that's just that's just a whole art in itself, the type of guitar playing that he does. I mean, I'm not knocking down anyone that strums. I personally just strum a lot, but his technique is just takes years and years and years of practice, and you know, he has it down to a T. Even at this age, you know, he has a lot of energy for a
75 now.
Yeah, 75-year-old.
Yeah, and he was also kind of like the spokesman. We're in a parking garage, so like I don't know what that is. Yeah, he kind of takes like the announcer spokesperson role, and so he was like really into it.
Is he the musical director right now? Like, so to say?
I guess, I don't know, maybe in a sense, but yeah. So after yeah, that was weird. So after his solo, I think they played Wondrous Stories, and to me it felt a bit heavier than like how I'm used to hearing the song, so it was kind of a surprise. And then they did a couple songs from The Quest, The Ice Bridge, and Dare to Know. Dare to Know also felt heavier than I'm used to. But you were like really into the Ice Bridge, right, Chris?
Yeah, Jeff Downs' keyboards riff was very catchy and enthralling.
Yeah, because I've listened to the album version over and over, there was like a little bit where I kind of wish the like that part was more out in front. I don't know if it was just where I was sitting, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, they did pretty well with that, and then
The visuals for that were
oh yeah, with they had video wall and had ice and whatnot, and then I think after that they did Heart of the Sunrise, which I mean is as strong as ever. And then after that was the break, and when they came back, I had to like run back to my seat because I heard like the
Me too.
like the bird sounds,
yeah.
and it's like, oh shoot, Close to the Edge is starting, and so.
I left Christian behind. I didn't even know. I hope he knows where his seat is because I'm going.
Yeah, and that went pretty well. They do like Steve Howe mentioned on our show and in other places that the key change they did at the end, but I wasn't like looking for it until like right as it was happening. I was like, oh shoot, I need to like pay attention to the key changes. Like okay, and I saw like a couple rows ahead of me were like really into it. I think with that song and maybe End You and I. Steve seemed really into it, like, so he and John Davison were standing in front of each other, sort of like playing off against each other, which was cool. I remember John Davison also had this weird staff, which he used during the Ice Bridge to like sort of walk with as a walking stick, and he'd like hold it up in later parts. But yeah, then they did
It had bells and such on it too, didn't it? I think
maybe.
she was like shaking it in front of the
Okay, I was wondering what those were.
microphone. I think it might have been a medicine stick of some type. Or, it looks like a traditional. It didn't look like it was like homemade, like I don't know, like Gandalf or something. It was actually a music instrument that was traditional, but I wouldn't say for sure.
All right. Yeah, so they did And You and I, and then they did Siberian Kachru, so, you know, doing the whole Close to the Edge album, and then I think after that, they did the closers, you know, Roundabout, classic. You know, there's always someone who shouts, play Roundabout, and I always wonder if it's someone who's been to these concerts before and just shouts it, like, as a meme because they know it's coming, or if it's someone who has not been to as many Yes concerts and they really want it to be played, so I don't know, but that was pretty cool. And then Starship Trooper, you know, it's always a strong finisher.
just kudos to the harmonies. You know, that's did a pretty good job.
Oh,
Very good job.
Layered, beautifully. It was just, you know, like leaves falling together. You know, it's unreal.
Yeah, and I can't remember if you said this on recording, but you were saying like this show is as good as like Jethro Tull, right?
Yeah, Jethro Tull I've seen sometimes before, and his musicians are always spot on. I mean, even if you like or dislike it, you cannot deny the musicianship and the performance level and professionalism is just amazing. You know, and it's just, like I said, I'm the Jethro Tull geek, and I love Yes too. Like I said, Close to the Edge is one of my all-time favorite albums. You know, Desert Island kind of thing. So
yeah, it's definitely high up there.
The bar was pretty high, and they exceeded it and jumped over it. So.
Yeah, and like
still kind of like floating.
Yeah, and like the audience was really into it. Lots of people were like standing up and clapping. So
yeah, there was a woman who was really
yeah.
They weren't obtrusive to the music. I think they were respectful. There was a couple
right.
I mean, it was funny when Steve was playing guitar, like he was just like, oh,
yeah, he was kind of he had the audience in his hands. You know, they loved every kind of nuance that he made. You know, okay,
yeah,
little playful looks out in the audience. You know, and they just jumped around.
Yeah. I love seeing how full of energy he is. For this part, sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, I'm saying I don't want to use the word spry, but they use that anytime an old person seems to have.
Yeah.
I would start saying that about me. I said, hey, at the concert, you sure were spry. did fall over when he.
It looked like he was going to fall over. Remember?
Yeah.
And he was
Oh,
doing
did
that
it? I must have missed that.
No, it's not that it looked like he was playing.
Oh.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I remember. I think John Davison bent down to like the edge of the stage during lyric. Maybe it was during Close to the Edge or something.
Close to the edge.
Yeah, it might have been that, or it might have been something else. But for this particular concert, I was paying close attention to Jay Shellen's drumming, and well, you know, I've seen him perform in Yes concerts 3 times before, I think. But for some reason, this felt to me like seeing him play with Yes for the first time, and he was in top form all throughout. I don't know if maybe it felt like the first time because it's sort of sinking in that he is like the successor to the drummer throne now. It's sort of sunken in, but he was really top shape, top form. Yeah.
It was definitely, you can feel it in your chest,
Right.
But it's not overbearing, with
Yeah.
the rest of the music. Like I said, again, whoever is doing this, the mixing.
Oh, the mixing was great too.
Yeah.
The mixing
Yeah.
was well done.
There
We
was
could hear
nothing that was
everywhere.
overpowering any other instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really do think that, playing is part of it, but I think also how much someone enjoys a concert also involves like what state of mind you're in when you go in. Like I know I had like some personal baggage from like during some travels today, so but like the music was good. It was really good, and were there any songs that either of you were sort of hoping or expecting might be played?
No, as long as they played Close to the Edge, or the Close to the Edge thing, I was happy. Whatever they ever did, I mean, I can't think of a song that I go, oh, I don't want that one. That is, it's like Death Hotel too. Every single song is going to be good.
What about you, Chris?
I mean, I'm going to be that guy and be honest and just feel like I've seen all good people, but I mean,
One of their most overplayed songs.
You're that guy. You're that guy.
But to be fair, whenever they do play it, I can't help but get super like into like the crescendo, like toward the end of the Your Move section, and it's just and the audience gets into it whenever I see it. But yeah,
it's really what it's really. Up
I'm
to
sure
them.
my dad is gonna love hearing that. You wish they played All Good People. Right. But yeah, sorry I cut you off.
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Also, another neat thing about this tour is they have like the Roger Dean art gallery, which we checked out like right before out in the hallway in the venue.
Dog earring and little.
Oh yeah, and I also got this tour book. It might look backwards in the video, but yeah, the Close to the Edge 50th Anniversary tour book. I flipped through it. It's very like some really neat pictures. There's a nice one of Alan and Eddie Offord on guitar, which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward. Oh wow, you got to the actual page. I'm looking forward to actually reading through the whole thing and giving my 2 cents on a future episode. But yeah, and the Roger Dean art, amazing as always. I saw the Union cover art, the Guardians. There were some other things like from Yes songs. I took some pictures and stuff, so I'm trying to debate whether I should add that to the Secret Path special we're putting together or on something separate. But either way, we'll see what we can do to like share what I got. And I also got this mug. Let me see if I can. Close to the Edge 50th Anniversary mug. It might look backwards as well, but yeah.
Bring up the fact that you were this celebrity with your T-shirt.
Oh yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, when we showed up at the venue, so like before the show, everyone was like, well, not everyone, but like at least 3 people like really wanted to like see my shirt. They're like that jacket's like covering the awesome shirt or something like that. So the Close to the Edge 50th Anniversary shirt, which I've worn on the show before. And there were some other Close to the Edge 50th Anniversary shirts they were selling that look kind of different, but I was like, I'm fine with what I have. And I mean, I already spent like $50 on the tour book and the mug, and also on like drinks and a snack. So, but yeah, I think that's. Do you guys have any like closing thoughts before I end this live?
I think it's a testament to the band that did 2.5 hours concert, and we're so excited about it. We're talking about it in an underground parking lot for a half hour afterwards, that says a lot.
Right.
I got to be working 7. So.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have to catch a train at like 5:30 a.m. So.
So
That's yeah.
Well, that's how it goes.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I guess that'll do it. This has been our review of the concert, and stay tuned on Yesshift. I'll be with my dad on another episode, and check out some of our recent stuff, like the Jay Shellen interview. That went very well. It was such a great conversation. And yeah, see y'all later on Yesshift.